Hello, Chinook and Steelhead members. Bob Reese here with the Guides Forecast. Thanks for being subscribers to the Guides Forecast. Today, I'm going to give you your forecast for tomorrow, which is going to be Wednesday, the 12th of August. We're in the second day of Catch Any Chinook, Harvest at Will. And it's getting better. We didn't have a better day today than we did yesterday, but there were boats that did well today. I get the feeling more Chinook are entering the river every day. And that's just what happens come mid-August. So let's just knock out the ocean forecast for tomorrow. The NOAA weather forecast, which has been less than impressive as far as accuracy, is calling for a 9-foot swell at 11 seconds. If you viewed the report from today, the ocean salmon fishing for large coho was knocked down, drag out on the south side of the red line. No doubt, it's hard to say actually. There is a doubt that it might not be that way tomorrow if you were able to get out, but you're going to be looking at a 9-foot swell on an 8.5-foot runoff. Daybreak is at max ebb. So if you think you're going to go over the bar tomorrow morning, I think you're going to be sadly disappointed. So I would not bank on an ocean opportunity, certainly not first thing in the morning. Even when the outgoing tide starts to slow down, you're still theoretically supposed to be greeted by a 9-foot swell. That will not be a fun scenario on the ocean tomorrow. So if you do go out, good luck. If you live to tell about it, to fish, you've mastered the art of something. But fish south. That's now the south wind's supposed to blow tomorrow, so of course that could be a game changer for those folks looking to fish south. It could change water temperature, it could change direction of the current. So as always, ocean fishing will be a wild card, but if you do go out, the south side will be the place to be, but I strongly recommend you stay in the river tomorrow. So with that, those folks that do river fish tomorrow, you will again be greeted with an 8.5-foot runoff tomorrow. If you start early, you'll be fishing max ebb and you'll be going 5 to 6 miles an hour downstream until the tide starts to slow around 9:30 tomorrow. Maybe you'll be able to get it down to about 3.5 to 4.5 miles an hour. You should start to see some biters on that last part of the ebb tide. And who knows, maybe the mother lode comes in tomorrow and you'll see a whole pile of biters. But there will be an extended period of time where I'm next to shore during max ebb from sunrise up until about 9:30, where you will not see a lot of activity for Chinook salmon on either side of the river. Then as the tide starts to slow, fish the Chinook wing jetties or the lower Desdemona tongue on the Washington side or the Oregon side. You should start to see Chinooks kind of trickling in on that last part of the outgoing tide. The red line between buoy 14 and buoy 12 and buoy 12 to buoy 10 also has some Chinooks on the last trickle of outgoing tide. Not a whole pile of them, but still it's a good strategy for the last hour of outgoing tide. And then assuming the cohos might still stay in the adjacent areas outside of the mouth of the Columbia River, it's not a bad idea, particularly because there hasn't been a good incoming tide bite in many places further up in the estuary, to stick it out at buoy 10 and see if the coho are going to come through on that rip. The Chinook fishing on the middle part of the incoming tide has been less than impressive everywhere in the estuary. So you might as well consider getting some high quality, high grade coho that hopefully will get pushed in on that 8.5-foot flood, and hold yourself at the line and keep the bait shallow, make them small, and get some rip-roaring coho action. The current's running so fast in there that those baits are spinning fast. Be cognizant of what you're using for bait. The spin fish are working great. They don't tear up like a soft anchovy does or a plug cut herring, and you want to have a spinning bait out there. So consider using a spin fish or a whole rigged anchovy that's not soft, and you should find yourself with a pretty good strike to hook ratio. I've been having a really good strike to hook ratio. I've been ditching those factory hooks on those spin fish. I don't know if those are little small 3/0, I'm guessing, but I've been putting on the VMC 5/0, And the strike to hook ratio has been quite impressive on the spin fish with those larger hooks. So that chrome with the blue scale continues to lead the way, but we had a couple bites on the larger size for metallic chrome with chartreuse head is getting bit. Even by caught a big coho on that today too. So you got to take that into account when you're fishing that swift water. Make sure that your baits aren't all fouled up. And there's a lot of seaweed in the estuary too. I haven't really covered that before, but be cognizant of all the vegetation that's floating around out there. Keep your lines clean because there's plenty of it coming through and fouling your gear. So, and then as far as Chinook, again, there's been a few fish on usually about 2.5 hours after low slack. There'll be some fish in front of Hammond on the Hammond hover. There's a few fish at the bridge early and late on the bridge hover on the Washington side, and then some came later in the tide in front of Hammond, and we stuck it out for high slack above the bridge on the Oregon side and just had one takedown at the very end of the high tide, and not impressive. So I didn't stick around to see how the first part of the outgoing fished on the Oregon side, but I got the feeling, given how poorly it produced at high tide, that it probably was not all that good. So that's going to be the Chinook program for tomorrow. Staple standard stuff. Hopefully some of you folks have taken advantage of the webinars that we produce for the Buoy 10 fishery. Of course, I've got the tech report for Buoy 10 too, if you're not sure where some of these areas are, like the humps or the flats and that sort of thing. Those are pretty well detailed in the tech report that we have available on the homepage. So good luck. We're nearing peak season. We should be starting to see some larger Chinooks come in. So far, a lot of Chinook Tule Jacks. I think we caught at least 4 of those today. So those are coming in force. So not a bad batch of action today, just 1 keeper Chinook and 2 dandy cohos. So it's going to build from here. Good luck when you get out fishing, folks. Thanks for being subscribers.